Hey everybody. Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit longer video today, so I'm gonna jump right in. This will be our last video for social media for 2020. So this is going to kind of be a look back and give you some things to think about. So you'll probably wanna take some notes. You can download this video or watch it as many times as you'd like. For those of you who are running a book of business, managing a team, or own your own business, this will be kind of a little bit of an opportunity to gut check what 2020 has done for you and give you an opportunity to take some notes and decide what it is that 2021 will look like or what you want it to look like for your business and for yourself. For those of you who coach with me and are watching this video or who have watched these videos throughout the pandemic, you know that I suggest you have some kind of notebook or journal, however you would like to refer to it as, where you can kind of maybe even label it what it is. Mine right now is going off the charts with marketing concepts and how we're going to do some different things in 2021. But if you don't have one, I would encourage you to get one so that you can kind of freehand write some of these ideas as they come to you. You can have it with you in your car or next to your treadmill, wherever you do your best thinking, and then just kind of let the ideas flow and then kind of back them up. So the first thing that I want to talk about is 2020. Take a big deep breath. I think that I hear a lot of people say right now, oh, it's almost over. But the reality is that on January 1st at 12:01, it's not a switch that's going to be flipped and this is all going to be great and well again. We still have a really long road ahead of us. And what I keep thinking as we discuss this with some of our other clients or just some of my own tribe and people that I communicate with throughout my own interactions is that we started 2020 with this cute little sayings, a lot of us did anyways, that 2020 was going to give us 2020 vision. And for me personally, and for a lot of the people that I talked to, it was like, oh, we were going to get this amount of clarity that we were looking for. If you have a word for the year or whatever, that was kind of the buzz thing. We were going to have 2020 vision. And then kind of the crap hit the fan. And I think that not only did we lose sight of that, but that concept got scary. So it fell by the wayside. Well, I'm going to somewhat challenge you if you wrote those things down, which we do encourage you to do, or maybe you even know what they are still, what you wanted for your personal health or your family, your business, whatever those things were at the beginning of last year, to look back, because hindsight is also 2020. And I think one of the most important things we can do for ourselves right now is to understand we got a darn good look at how things really can get and how things really can be in 2020. I think that for those of us who are risk takers, this was a little bit of a slap in the gut. We were either prepared or we pivoted very well or we pivoted very poorly. We had to make some hard decisions, both professionally and personally. We had to get nitty gritty in a lot of our relationships, whether that's because we were in proximity to people a lot differently than we typically are. We were working from home. Our children were home. Maybe some people even lost their jobs and had to adjust their careers. So looking back on 2020, just for a few minutes, what kind of clarity did it give you if you say hindsight is 2020? Did you do what you really are capable of doing, or did you use the pandemic as an excuse to kind of not do everything you could do? And here's the thing about this. This is your own gut check. Somebody else can't do this for you. Your nagging spouse can't say, well, you didn't do everything that you could do. One of the things about 2020 is we realized a lot about our personal health. about our personal ability to how much we could give, how much sleep we actually needed, how much stress our bodies could actually take. So that's not something that somebody else can do for you. You have to be able to sit and say, hey, I wanted to train for half a marathon, but I couldn't do that. I was not able to get out with my workload. And so I trained, I did these miles. Obviously the race was probably canceled, but I did do what I asked myself to do. I belong to quite a few running clubs. So I'll tell you, a lot of my running friends ran more than they had planned. I personally did not. We were flooded with a lot more than I had ever anticipated in a completely different fashion. And my running goals for 2020 pretty much went out the wayside. They went by the wayside. Everything was canceled. My gyms were closed. And as much as I love to run outside, that just wasn't something that happened for me. And my personal health didn't take the track that I thought it would in 2020. But it was what I was capable of. For those of you who know me personally, you know I love to eat, and getting to stay home and cook for my family and do all those things was a little bit more detrimental on me than I was hoping for. So I didn't get the COVID-19 virus. I got the COVID-19 pounds. So, but only you can say that for yourself. Did you change careers? Did you support your team the way you needed to, or did your team have to support themselves in a managerial standpoint? So take 2020 while you have that mind space and even write it at the top of your page. 2020 in hindsight, what did you learn? And just freehand it out and see what you think. And then we can move on to 2021. And I'm gonna run you through some ideas here. And these are the notes that I take while I start to develop the visions going forward for what I think it takes to develop a solid plan. This is not writing your plan. These are just things I think you have to keep in perspective when it's hard to have vision going forward. I think that there is a ton of healing that has to go on personally and professionally in 2021. I think we all need to take a collective deep breath and say, okay, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, but first and foremost, what can we do to heal some of the havoc? If you are a Food Channel watcher, there's been some great documentaries out there that have documented, how companies are pivoting again to bring back, in all different parts of the country, bring back their revenue, bring back, and not just through a pandemic, through social injustices that are racking cities and weather and all these other crazy things that 2020 brought, murder hornets. So what is it that you feel needs the most amount of healing? Where is the biggest scar? Where is the biggest wound, both in your personal and your professional life? And when you look at those specific items, just sitting there kind of giving them some thought, do you look out for some kind of resolution? Do you look down? Or do you look in? And for those of us who are leaders, owners, managers, parents, we have a tendency to doubt our own leadership. And we're going to talk about that a lot throughout this video. That's why it's going to be a little bit longer today. We doubt our own intuition and our own ability that got us where we are today. So when you see that you have this kind of big gaping wound that needs some healing, do you find yourself looking outward for somebody else to come to you and give you the reassurance and give you the ideas to heal it? Do you find that you would rather avoid it or go to social media or your phone and you're looking down, not really clearly trusting your intuition? Or do you look inside yourself to think, I know how to do this. I've actually done it before. I've pivoted to a point where I fixed major problems. I got myself to this point. I may need to trust myself again. And it's not so much I may need to, you need to trust yourself again. We bring on members of our team that accent and make us one unit. That unit is unique because each person has their own thoughts. If one person is bringing all the thoughts, then it's no longer a unique unit. It's just warm bodies and seats. And we all know how I feel about warm bodies and seats. That's not what we've got going on. If we don't trust our own intuition a little bit and trust our own concepts, our own ideas, I personally, as an owner and as a manager, will start to kind of feel heavy. And this is something that in your one-on-one coaching, if you are a client of Oxygen and you don't just participate in our group training, but you participate on our one-on-one training, we'll talk about this a lot. I start to feel heavy kind of with the ideas that I have. If I don't get those ideas out, whether they are just to brainstorm them in your notebook again, or to brainstorm them with my executive team, or implement them in some way to see if they're going to work, flush them out in some way, I will start to feel heavy. Like my creative side, the side of me that needs to work on my business, not in my business, but on my business, starts to make me feel heavy. So for those of you who have the ability to really implement change in your organizations, what are you doing so that that creative piece of you is being fed? What are you doing to put ideas out? Even if none of them come to fruition in your business, and we've talked about how you should be vetting those ideas in other videos, if you don't get them out, you will start to feel heavy. So as you sit there listening to this video today, do you feel heavy with ideas? Like you're not sure where to go next, or which ideas to implement next, or how you would even fund it, or how you would implement it, or where the man hours would come from, any of that. If you're not saying yes to those new challenges or to those new ideas, the people that are losing out are your employees, your family, and your profit centers. So if at very, very minimum, I would challenge you to get out your notebook. And again, like everybody laughs that if you know me in person, that this thing never leaves my purse really. Start a new page with all of your ideas and right at the top, I will not be heavy with my truth. And dump all those ideas there and just see. You can always go back to them. You can add, scratch away, maybe implement them, throw them at some of your implementers or your executive team and see what they say. Maybe you are the executive team and it's just going to take a little bit more brainstorming. But don't allow yourself to get so bogged down in the minutia of the inside of your business that you forget, oh, we're supposed to be growing a business. Oh, we're supposed to be repairing some of this kind of lackluster lull that 2020 has given us, and we need fresh ideas. The notion that we can't be something that we don't see or that we haven't seen in the past, which I feel has kind of come out a lot. It's something that's been talked about more frequently lately. For those of us who are trailblazers, it lacks creativity. That's what we are. We are trailblazers. We are free thinkers. So just because you haven't seen somebody else do it in the past doesn't mean that you can't think of it now. It shouldn't take away your permission to brainstorm that out and decide, hey, I don't want to be heavy with this. I just need to put the idea down. I used to know a gentleman who owned a company, and he said to me while I was coaching him one day, I just need somebody to follow me around and write down all my good ideas. And I laughed when he said it to me, but he really thought that all of his ideas were so great that somebody should do that. I don't know that that was completely the case. However, when you are that type of personality, sometimes that's what you should be doing. So start a note section in your phone, start a notebook, start whatever, but don't allow yourself to be heavy with those things. And maybe they're personal life things too. Maybe they're, sometimes I have ideas about renovating my house and those also go on a different page, but don't stew on them. Get them out of your brain, get them down on a piece of paper and move on. And if that's what you are going to have as a goal for 2021, we will fully support that. Just make sure you say something to your coach. The other idea that will support that is creating a culture of yes. And this is kind of a fun topic. It has been talked about I think many times, and you'll probably hear, I actually maybe think that there's a book about this, but one of the things that I want to encourage you to consider as you're kind of vetting out all of these ideas about your business and which ones you want to implement in 2021 is when we start to talk about budget cuts or laying people off or trying to, we're looking at very seriously not hitting goals that have been put in front of us. We have a tendency to say, no, we can't do that because, or no, that's not going to be possible because. We can go round and round for hours about all of the negativity that will bring, especially when we're managing other people, aside from what it does to our own brains. But I think that a yes mentality or a yes culture means that we adjust when someone says, can we do this? So can we hire more people? Your automatic answer may be not just no, but heck no. What if your answer was yes? Can you show me why and how we would pay for them or why we need them? One of the things that I think we all start to miss is that we are not deeply in the trenches of our business. We get stuck on our business, not in our business. And you have to have the courage, because courage is the separator here. Courage is the separator that says, I will sit with my team and say, you think you need more people? Let's check it out. Yes, I'm in this with you. Let's figure it out. And as that person, you can then say, hey, you know what? There's a gap. Hey, we missed this. Hey, you know what? You're right. We have to figure this out. I didn't realize. We will perish. We'll perish without knowledge. And that's firsthand knowledge that things are the way that they are. The courage of someone to say, hey, I think we should implement this idea. You need to have the courage to say, yes, thank you for bringing that to me. Let's figure it out. Now notice I did not say, yes, here's $50,000 to pay those people. I did not say, yes, here's $200,000 to pay those people. But I did say, yes, thank you for having the courage to bring this to me. Yes, you did it. I really appreciate it. Let's go to the next place. You have a willingness to figure it out. So when we look at having a yes culture, it's more of a celebratory culture rather than oh, well, great, you hit that goal, but we're still, 3 behind and I've got all these other problems. We have enough other chaos in all the other areas of our life, but when we work to have this yes culture, we will see a shift in the willingness of people to be more creatively open, to be more willing to think outside the box and be the asset in our human inventory. And that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for that kind of more bang for our buck when we talk about having employees. And the best way to do it is to allow them to be creative, to allow them to feel safe enough to bring those ideas to you or speak up. And, one of the things we do here at Oxygen is we teach companies to conflict well. The courage to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm going to say this and it's going to cause a problem, but, this could be the fix to a pretty big solution. That's one of the reasons why we teach conflict. Just because something bad happens in your business doesn't mean we can't say, okay, yes, we acknowledge that it happened. Yes, we know that this was not a good thing, but yes, we're going to fix it. You feel a different type of settling and a different approach on how it's going to get fixed in the long run. None of it is easy. I don't think that any of us say, okay, well, we're going to implement this yes culture and know that it's going to be an easy transition. But I think that I heard somewhere this year that you have to be tested to have a testimony. And like we haven't all been tested. But what if we're not done being tested, right? I think that we don't get things that we can't handle. It's just, are we uniquely aware enough on how to handle them? And what have we given people permission to handle? What have we kind of throttled people back so that they can't handle things on their own and kind of snuffed them out? Or are we saying, yes, we're telling you you can do that. Yes, we're giving you permission to fail. Yes, we're giving you the ability to do your job and really do great. I think some of the companies that we work best with, they are companies that are working to deeply entrench their values. They're working to keep clients safe, their employees safe. They're working to maximize some of the employees that they have. They know that they're taking good care of, but they want to get the most out of what they're doing. So we come in and we help these companies by kind of loosening the reins a little bit and letting companies really do what they're made to do. We don't ever want to be a company that's making money in spite of themselves. We want to be companies that make money on purpose, that do good and have the ability to put out more than what they take in. And so you have to improve how you employ people. So as you think about 2021 and you really kind of let yourself breathe, you let yourself really just kind of think about it. I will tell you two things. I have a very dear friend of mine who told me when things get tough for her, her dad tells her, go sit on a rock. And I loved having this conversation with her because we have very similar relationships with our dad, except she still has her dad. And as many of you know, I lost my dad, what will be 7 years ago in a few weeks. And sitting on a rock can be anywhere. We have both had the opportunity to sit on a rock in beautiful places. Our fathers, while they never met, were very similar men in the fact that they raised daughters that see very limitless boundaries. They are ceilinglessness. Sam and I both don't see a ceiling. We don't have a ceiling to shatter. We don't see people that have a ceiling, but sometimes we have to sit on a rock and figure it out. And so I'm going to challenge you guys. I'm going to pass on this story that Sam and I share and tell you that my hope for you while we approach 2021 is to go find a rock and sit on a rock and think it through for yourself. I think that you have to be solid in your goals, but you have to be flexible in your approach. And that's really hard for people who are high functioning, results-based people. But 2020 taught us that you can't be solid in your approach. You have to be willing to pivot and change and be flexible and know that you can have two things and ask for something else. You can have both and. Throws every 5-year-old who's asking for 2 cookies for a loop. But I hope that between now and, we have a few days left in the year, so depending on when you watch this, and when you roll out your own personal goals for 2021, I hope you find a rock. I hope there's a beautiful scene to look at, and I hope that you really look at your business and decide what 2020 showed you in hindsight and what you're really capable of in 2021. I know that we all are capable of great things. I think that we all need to remember to breathe life in every day. And the coaches here at Oxygen are super appreciative for everything that you've all done for us this year. We are always constantly thinking and praying for everyone, their health, their wellness, and their well-being throughout all of this craziness that 2020 has brought here. But we're always hoping and praying for everyone's health and wellness. So we wish you all a super calm, healthy new year, and we hope to work with all of you and maybe a little bit more in 2021. So I hope everybody takes just a little bit of time to breathe life in. And if there's anything we can do for you in 2021, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on any of our social media channels. Happy New Year, everyone.